Because of the Niger Delta, in the heart of the Niger Delta, where the mangrove forest whispered secrets to the wind, and the creeks flowed like lifeblood through the veins of the earth, there lived a young and ambitious journalist named Azu. Azu had grown up in the Delta, breathing in the scent of crude oil and the whispers of the gods, and he knew the stories of his people like the back of his hand. He had seen the beauty of the Delta, with its lush forest and vibrant wildlife, but he had also seen the devastation, the oil spills, and the corruption that had ravaged the land and its people. As Azu returned to his hometown, he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. The air was thick with tension, and the people were restless. The oil pipelines that crisscrossed the delta like a network of steel snakes seemed to be under attack, and the community was plagued by strange illnesses and unexplained deaths. Azu's investigation began with a visit to the local community leaders, who gathered around him in a circle, their faces etched with worry and concern. "Azu, our son, we have been waiting for you," they said. "The delta is dying, and we don't know what to do." As Azu listened to their stories, he realized that the problems went far beyond the pipeline sabotage. The oil company officials seemed to be hiding something, and the government authorities were either complicit or incompetent. Azu knew that he had to dig deeper, to uncover the truth behind the cause that seemed to be afflicting the delta. The sun beat down on Azu's back as he walked through the delta's winding creeks, the water lapping against the wooden canoes that bobbed gently on the surface. He met with fishermen who spoke of the declining fish stocks, and with farmers who spoke of the barren land that once yielded abundant crops. As the days passed, Azu's investigation led him to a hidden document that suggested the oil company had been involved in corrupt practices and environmental degradation. The document was cryptic, but it seemed to point to a larger conspiracy that went all the way to the top. Azu's phone rang, shrill in the silence of the night. "Azu, you're getting close to the truth," a low, gravelly voice said. "But you're playing with fire. Back off now, or you'll suffer the consequences." Azu's heart racing, he tried to process the warning. Who was behind it? And what did they want him to back off from? He knew that he couldn't let fear dictate his actions. He had to press on, no matter the cost. The shadows seemed to be watching him, always lurking in the shadows, waiting for Azu to make his next move. Azu knew that he was in grave danger, but he refused to back down. He was determined to uncover the truth, to lift the curse that had been cast over the delta. As the stakes grew higher, Azu's resolve only strengthened. He knew that he was fighting for the future of the delta, for the people who called it home, and for the land that had been ravaged by greed and corruption. Azu's investigation led him to a small, run-down office on the outskirts of the delta. The sign above the door read, "Delta Environmental Watch," and the office seemed to be abandoned. But Azu knew that this was where he would find the answers he was looking for. He pushed open the creaky door and stepped inside. The office was dimly lit, and the air was thick with dust. But as Azu's eyes adjusted to the light, he saw a figure hunched over a desk, typing away on an old computer. The figure looked up, and Azu saw that it was a young woman with a determined look on her face. "Azu, I've been expecting you," she said. "My name is Neoma, and I'm the director of Delta Environmental Watch." Azu's eyes widened as he took in the information. "You're the one who's been investigating the oil company?" he asked. Neoma nodded. "Yes, I've been following the trail for months. But it's not just the oil company. It's a web of corruption that goes all the way to the top." Azu's mind was racing. He knew that he had to get to the bottom of this story, no matter the cost. "Tell me more," he said, pulling out his notebook and pen. Neoma leaned forward, her eyes locked on Azu's. The oil company has been bribing officials, manipulating data, and ignoring environmental regulations. And the government has been turning a blind eye, as Suspense scribbled furiously as he took down notes. He knew that this was big, and he was determined to expose the truth, but as he left the office, Azu couldn't shake off the feeling that he was being watched. He looked around, but there was no one in sight. The streets were empty, and the only sound was the distant hum of the oil rigs. Suddenly, a car screeched to a halt beside him. The door opened, and a figure leaned out. "Azu, get in," the figure said. "You're in danger." Azu hesitated for a moment, but something about the figure's tone told him that this was serious. He got into the car, and the figure sped off into the night. As they drove, Azu tried to process what was happening. Who was this figure, and what did they want with him? But before he could ask any questions, the figure spoke up. "My name is Ken. I'm a member of a secret society that's been protecting the Delta for generations. We've been watching you, Azu. We know you're determined to expose the truth." Azu's eyes widened as he took in the information. "What do you want from me?" he asked. Ken's expression was serious. "We want you to join us. We need someone with your skills to help us take down the corrupt officials and the oil company. Are you in?" Azu hesitated for a moment. He knew that this was a risk, but he also knew that he couldn't back down now. "I'm in," he said, his voice firm. Ken nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. "Welcome to the team, Azu. We are going to change the Delta together." As Azu joined the secret society, he was introduced to the rest of the team. There was Emma, a brilliant hacker who had been tracking the oil company's financial transactions; Kofi, a former government official who had grown disillusioned with the system; and Amoka, a young activist who had been fighting for environmental justice. Together, they formed a formidable team, each bringing their unique skills and perspectives to the table. Azu was amazed by the level of dedication and passion that each member brought to the cause. Their plan was to gather evidence of the oil company's wrongdoing and expose it to the world. They spent countless hours poring over documents, interviewing whistleblowers, and analyzing data. Meanwhile, Azu continued to write his articles, carefully crafting each piece to build momentum for their cause. He knew that the public's attention was crucial to bringing about change. As the days turned into weeks, the team's efforts began to bear fruit. The oil company's reputation began to tarnish, and the government started to take notice. Azu's articles were being picked up by major news outlets, and the public was starting to demand answers, but the oil company was not going to go down without a fight. They launched a vicious counterattack, using their vast resources to discredit Azu and the secret society. They accused them of being terrorists, of being funded by foreign interests, and of seeking to destabilize the country. Azu and the team knew that they had to be careful. They were taking a huge risk by challenging the oil company and the government. But they were determined to see it through. One night, Azu received a call from an unknown number. "Azu, you're playing with fire," a voice said. "You're going to get burned." Azu knew that this was a threat, but he refused to back down. "I'm not afraid of you," he said. "I'm going to expose the truth, no matter what." The voice on the other end laughed. "We'll see about that," it said. The next day, Azu's article was published in a major newspaper. It was a bombshell, revealing the oil company's wrongdoing and corruption. The response was immediate and intense. The oil company's stock price plummeted, and their reputation was severely damaged. Chief Okonkwo was furious, and he vowed to take revenge on Azu and his team, but Azu knew that he had won. He had exposed the truth, and he had brought about change. He felt a sense of pride and satisfaction, knowing that his work would have a lasting impact. As the dust settled, Azu and his team were hailed as heroes. They had fought against incredible odds, and they had emerged victorious, but Azu knew that the fight wasn't over yet. There were still many challenges to come, and he was determined to continue fighting for the truth. As the days passed, the oil company's executives were brought to justice, and the community began to heal. Azu's article had sparked a national conversation about corruption and environmental degradation, and the government was forced to take action. Azu's bravery and determination had changed the course of history, and he was hailed as a hero by the people. He continued to write, exposing more corruption and injustice. And his name became synonymous with truth and integrity, but Azu knew that there was still much work to be done. He continued to fight for justice, using his pen to expose the powerful and bring about change. Years later, Azu's legacy would be remembered for generations to come. He had shown that one person could make a difference, and that the power of the pen was mightier than the sword.